straight to streaming. There's so many great movies that are straight to streaming.
Drive-By Movies, you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaze.
And my name is James.
And this week we're talking about Amazon Prime's new film, Foe.
Whatever we decide, we'll be together.
Foe is the new film from Garth Davis, and it's about Hen and Junior who farm a secluded piece of land that has been in Junior's family for generations. But their quiet life is thrown into turmoil when an uninvited stranger shows up at their door with a startling proposal. So AI is all the hype these days. YouTube editors are using it to edit their reaction videos to 21 Jump Street, you name it. AI is generating so many thumbnails. AI is generating so many people's profile pictures. And who knows? It's just going to take over us because Elon Musk developed that robot. There's a Tesla store at the local mall that I go to, and they always have a robot on display inside that I'm just like, when is that thing going to come to life or whatever? What is that thing supposed to do? But either way, a lot of people are saying AI are out to get our jobs and AI is going to replace us. And Foe kind of tackles that. Blaze, what are your thoughts on the movie?
So I think at least Foe, it tackles it in a more... what do I want to say? A more romanticized way almost, and really tackles that intimacy issue that maybe AI or they never really mention it in the film, but clones could kind of, basically deal with. But yeah, like this film definitely, I feel like came out of left field. I hadn't heard really anything of it. I know that Paul Mescal is definitely an actor that I've heard his name a lot. Never seen him in anything, but I can now successfully say I've watched a movie that he's been in. I don't think this was his best movie, probably. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this probably isn't his best film. I thought that the performances were good in this film, but overall I did feel like this film fell a little bit flat. It plays with those science fiction themes, and a lot of it is very science fiction oriented, but they never really show anything enough to make us like, it almost feels like a film that came out like I'm thinking of the film Another Earth, where it's like that was done maybe 2009, 10 maybe, and it's like they don't really have too much visual effects or special effects or anything crazy in it to sell that theory, but it's a very heady movie in a sense. And in that film, I actually really enjoy that movie, but this kind of does the same thing, but we're just so far away from that. I feel like this film actually has like a budget. They have two big name actors that are really hot right now. And I mean, Saoirse Ronan's been around forever, but I feel like Paul Mescal is really hot right now. It's like you only hear about Paul Mescal, old Timmy Boy, and who's the other guy? Jeremy Allen White. Like, I feel like those three actors are just like, people are like, oh, have you seen like that? Oh, they're in this. They're like, and now finally we're watching Paul Mescal's new movie. But anyways, James, what did you think about this film?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much I think my thoughts are aligned with yours. This is a movie I think in 2009 or 2010 when I was 19, 20 years old would have blew my mind. But there's so much like this overall. And I really liked the reference to Another Earth, because this movie overall kind of reminded me of like kind of Sound of My Voice or movies by Batman Glee, or just also even more recently After Yang, which also touches on like kind of AI and stuff. But those movies I just felt like are done a little bit better. This movie kind of takes a long time to say what it's saying, but it doesn't overall have that much really to say. Like overall the concept is like, it's not necessarily falling in love with AI. It's just, would you use AI to kind of re-spark your romance again? And will it work successfully? And it kind of explores that. And, as we get into spoilers, we find out the answer to it too. But, it does ask some fun questions here and there, but it's just nothing overall done originally. And I was curious about this movie just because I haven't heard anything about it, like you said. Everyone who I follow on Letterboxd has either given it 4 stars or 2 stars. So I'm just like, all right, what movie is this? Is this a really amazing movie, or is it just like kind of a dull, bland movie? And it just seems like it's right in the middle. It just depends on what kind of, film person you are. Like if you're a crazy film enthusiast, you've probably seen a lot of movies like this. But if you're getting into film and haven't seen that many movies, this movie might feel one of a kind and very different, and might pique your interest into more sci-fi indie movies like this. And this is a genre that I love though too, like sci-fi without it being overly techie. And so I thought this movie does very well, but just kind of falls flat, like you said.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that for me is like getting a little bit into spoiler territory. I do think that some of the twists that this film has in store almost derail it in a way at the same time. Like I don't feel like they bring to light, anything more than if the, it was just telling us the film like it was, like bringing in just this, it was actually, the whole time Paul Mescal's character Junior was basically this AI and clone. I know in the film they don't say clone, but for the, for this review we'll probably mention clone a couple of times. Also AI, it seems weird too, because like, yeah, it is like a free thinking different clone essentially, but I guess it's like the same thing. I guess that's what always, like when we think about clones, we don't think that there's technically could be an AI a clone as well. You just think of like a person with free will that looks exactly the same as somebody else. But yeah, this is one where it's actually a robot. But this film never really utilizes anything to show us that more than just the actors. It's definitely done more on the low key, trying to be a little bit more heady, but it just felt like very, very flat. And I felt like the twist just derailed a lot of it for me.
Yeah, and I hate to say like straight to streaming. There's so many great movies that are straight to streaming, but this movie, I can see why it is kind of more of a straight to streaming movie. It's very cheap, low budget, has a lot to say, but I can see why this movie wasn't like, it feels like a movie that a lot of people would say like, oh, this is an A24 style movie, but no, it's really not. It's been done before, and it's still like well crafted, and like you've said too, the performances in it are fantastic. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Paul Mescal. I've been seeing his face for quite some time, but nice to like see what he's capable of. But just this movie, I don't know, I don't see him as like the overall like generational farmer worker that like he says to be. Like I'm not sure if he was miscast in that, but like his performance is fine, but just like I don't know, like the AI version of him is fine, but we'll don't want to go too much into like spoilers too as well, but just like like the differences between the two like are there, which I enjoyed. We were talking about that with Suitable Flesh a couple weeks ago, when it's like one actor playing multiple different roles within the same embodiment kind of. I thought he did a great job of capturing that within this movie, but just I thought just his performance as his actual human self though just was very dull, and he is kind of supposed to be dull, but I just don't buy it though too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this film was just, I feel like it definitely gave the vibe. I know you said straight to streaming, but it gives the vibe of like, there are those streaming films that premiere at festivals. Somebody's like super eager, like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, whatever, is super eager to pick it up. Maybe they even overpay for it because they're in a bidding war with another company. And when it comes to releasing the movie, they just kind of like dump it with like no fanfare, nothing, but they overpaid for this thing. So this definitely gave that vibe. I feel like Amazon, it wasn't even on the homepage. Like it was just, you had to literally search Foe. I'm like, really? Like, I feel like you guys bought this. Like you should at least put it on the front for a week or something. I know that we're not watching this like the week it came out, but it still felt like it was hidden in the depths of Amazon.
Yeah, I had to search for it. You're exactly right. It wasn't on the homepage. Like I still constantly, every time I go onto the homepage, I don't even see Rings of Power advertised anymore. But I love the show The Boys. I'm glad that Amazon is proud of their work with that and stuff. But every time I sign in, it's just The Boys and Generation V being advertised on there. So good for them that that's carrying a lot of their work and stuff too. But just interesting though, when they have made some really great movies. Like Amazon's, like there's a difference between Amazon Studios and movies that are premiering on Amazon Prime. Movies like The Big Sick or Suspiria and stuff, fantastic movies that were made for theaters, but then just movies that they pick up. And this definitely feels like a movie that's just like they picked up and just released it on streaming, I guess you could say. But yeah, I had to search for it. It's not on that homepage for me.
Yeah, that's funny because you mentioned that Rings of Power isn't even on the homepage. I don't think I've seen Rings of Power on the homepage at like maybe that first month it came out. And then I started to realize, I'm like, dude, Amazon, now we're getting ads. It's $2.99 like a month. If you want to forgo ads, you have to pay an extra $2.99 a month, which is kind of crazy. I didn't see an ad while I watched Foe, thank God. I don't know if it's only TV shows that you see the ads, but it got me to thinking, I'm like, dude, I wonder if Rings of Power was like successful, like it had like the most views ever. Like maybe we wouldn't have got that world where we got Amazon with ads. I feel like honestly, this is Jeffrey Bezos like taking it out on us. Like y'all didn't watch Rings of Power, now $2.99 a month, like extra a month, or you're gonna watch ads. Because I feel like he was super bitter that Rings of Power didn't like. I know a lot of people that watched it. I don't know a lot of people that really enjoyed it though, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, funny that you bring that up because I didn't know about this, and watching Foe was the first time I experienced ads, and it's not during the movie, it was only before, and I think it was only like 90 seconds worth of ads, which isn't too bad versus like Peacock where there's no ads in the movie, but I think it's like 2 or 3 minutes worth of ads before the movie, so that takes a while. So cool, only 90 seconds, but that really caught me off guard. I was like, this is the first time I've ever seen ads on Amazon Prime, and didn't set this movie up for success when I'm starting it with that.
What ads did you have? Like Eli Lilly or CeraVe? I feel like is like a popular ad.
Well, one was an ad for just stuff that's on Amazon Prime, and I brought up Rings of Power because that was in the commercial for Amazon Prime. But of course, they were focusing more on The Boys and stuff. But like the fact that they were showing Rings of Power on there, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that that's on this app and everything.
It was only 6 months ago too. That's the hilarity of it, right? Didn't it come out in the summer?
I believe so, yeah. And, when they first announced it, I was all on board and I was following the official Instagram and loving all the set photos and the costume. But just when that first trailer came out for that Super Bowl, I was like, not really feeling this, but hope for the best. And then, I watched the first episode, enjoyed it, and never carried on with it. But yeah, that's Rings of Power. And then there's this movie, which kind of have the same thoughts, like not bad necessarily. It's just not for me. Two very different things, I guess you could say, but very similar. Way to go, Amazon. But yeah, this movie, if you have an Amazon Prime account, be sure to check it out. Let us know what your thoughts are below. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you can also rent it through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below. Do that and come back here to let us know what you thought about it, because that's a great way to help support us.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, catch all our social media thoughts and ideas down below. We got Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as our own personal letterbox, all in that description box down below. That'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.